More from Aesop's Fables. Here's the old man and death. An old man, stooped by age and hard work, was gathering sticks in the forest. As he hobbled painfully along, he thought of his troubles and began to feel very sorry for himself. With a hopeless gesture, he threw his bundle of sticks upon the ground and groaned, "Life is too hard. I cannot bear it any longer. If only death would come and take me." Even as the words were out of his mouth, death, in the form of a skeleton in a black robe, stood before him. "I heard you call me, sir," he said. "What can I do for you?" "Please, sir," replied the old man, "could you please help me put this bundle of sticks back on my shoulder again?" How sorry we would be if many of our wishes were granted. Oh, that's true. The swallow's advice. Here you go. There's the picture. The swallow's advice. There's a farmer back there. A farmer was sowing his field with hemp seeds. That's what they get from marijuana, but it was also what they used to make ropes with. A farmer was sowing his field with hemp seeds while a swallow and some other birds sat on the fence watching him. "Beware of that man," said the swallow solemnly. "Why would we be afraid of him?" asked the other birds. "That farmer is sowing hemp seed," replied the swallow. "It is most important that you pick up every seed that he drops. You will live to regret it if you don't." But of course, the silly birds paid no heed to the swallow's advice. So, with the coming of the spring rains, the hemp grew up, and one day the hemp was made into cord, and of the cord nets were made, and many of the birds that had despised the swallow's advice were caught in the nets made of the very hemp that was grown from the seeds they had failed to pick up. Unless the seed of evil is destroyed, it will grow up to destroy us. The old woman and the physician. An old woman who had become blind summoned a physician. "Since you are a healer of such great renown," said she, "I would like to strike a bargain with you. If you will restore my eyesight, I will give you a most handsome reward. But if within a reasonable time you fail and my malady still remains, then you shall receive nothing." The physician, observing that the old woman was comfortably off and had many possessions, concluded the agreement. So he called regularly and pretended to treat the woman's eyes, meanwhile, bit by bit, carrying off all of her goods. After a time, whatever had been causing the old lady's blindness disappeared, and she found her sight again. Thereupon the physician demanded the stipulated fee, but discovering that nearly all of her possessions had disappeared since the coming of the physician, she kept putting him off with excuse. At length he grew impatient and had his patient summoned before a judge. When called upon for her defense, the old woman said, "What this man says is true enough. I promised to give him his fee if my sight were restored, but nothing if my eyes remained blind. Now then, he says that I am cured, but it cannot be true. For before my malady came upon me, I could see all sorts of furniture and goods in my house, but now I cannot see a single stick. Yet he tells me that he has restored my sight." He who plays a trick must be prepared to take a joke. The eagle and the arrow. One day a bowman saw an eagle soaring lazily in the sky. Quickly he notched an arrow and sent it whizzing after the bird. It found its mark, and the eagle felt itself wounded to death. As it slowly fluttered down to earth, it saw that the haft of the arrow which had pierced its breast was fitted with one of its own feathers. How often do we supply our enemies with the means of our destruction? That's pretty true. A boy was playing. This is the thief and the boy. A boy was playing by the well curb when a thief came walking by. A well curb is the stones around the mouth of the well so that you just don't fall in. It actually marks the well so you know where it is. So a boy was playing by the well curb when a thief came walking by. Suddenly the boy began to cry. His little shoulders heaved with his sobbing. His wailing could be heard for a mile or more. When his grief had abated somewhat, the thief said, Why all the tears, my little friend?" Oh dear," whimpered the boy. "I was playing with my beautiful silver mug, but the string broke and it fell down into the well." "Ah, that's easy," replied the thief, tossing off his clothes. He let himself down into the well. It was his intention to recover the valuable mug and keep it for himself. Down, down, down he went. Colder and colder grew the water, but he couldn't find the mug for the simple reason that there wasn't any. After a while, the thief began to realize that the boy, having recognized him for a thief, had sent him down into the well to get him out of the way. Painfully, he climbed out of the well, shivering with cold. When he reached the top again, both the boy and the thief's clothes were gone. He who tries to outsmart his neighbor winds up by outsmarting himself. Well, I think that's it for the night. That was it for Aesop's Fables. More coming soon. Bye.